There's different strategies, right, for networking, and this one that you've shared is where you make a contact with someone and then you offer to help them in some way. I could imagine that when you do it, it's very natural. That's who you are. But when another person does it, it feels maybe orchestrated or canned. How do you make it like more of a natural thing?
Okay, 2 steps before that, they've decided in the first 2 minutes whether they like you or not. If they like you, they won't feel they're being sold to. If they do, it's, oh, here's somebody trying to sell people. You pick that up quickly and let it go. But if you've had a top introduction from someone like Heike, they'll give you not 50 minutes, they'll probably give you half an hour. Because again, Heike's kind of done his homework, which is you should speak to them because what you're doing, I think, should be interesting to them. There's no guarantees.
And so what do you do in those meetings? Say you get introduced by Heike to Thomas. So what do you do in that situation? Like in a meeting with that person, you've got an opportunity.
Well, I have a perfect thing, which I say, would you like me to write an article for you? I used to do it for the Financial Times. I did that for 4 years. I mean, I'm going to be hopefully putting together a magazine for Estonia. So I'll interview you for an hour max. I will write a nice article in the format of, have you ever wondered about? And then, well, I spoke to Thomas Henry Gilbert and he had some interesting views. He told me 20 things, but I picked out 2 or 3 and I reflected on that. And I think what Thomas would like you to do is the following. And I give that to them for free because it looks good for me that if I get to interview him again. But you see, everybody wants their story told by an outsider in a useful, concise, and helpful way. Because I never write bad articles about anybody. Not that I'm really angry about potholes, I don't do that. I'm a nice guy, I like to write nice things about nice people.
So you write an article to build the trust.
I write an article to build the trust.
So but say someone else maybe doesn't write an article, but they might have something to give, maybe an introduction or something, but something to build trust.
Yeah, building trust. There's a phrase I use in a different context, which is try me, improve me, which is somebody gives a good story. I'm good at sales. I'm good at writing a da-da-da. You say, oh, interesting. Yeah, that sounds great. So, Mike, if you're so good at sales so a network, you could find me somebody who does forestry in the UK tomorrow. Oh, yeah, no problem. Then you see if they do. They'll be, well, I was going to, but then I got busy and I changed my mind. The trust goes down. Because I've got quite a strong, I know it sounds strange, but moral compass. I've seen some really bad things along the way. Nasty people doing nasty things. And I used to fret about this. Why are some people so horrible? So I thought, well, I will study moral, social, religious systems. What's a good person or a bad person? How does this come about? And then, so I studied them all. I just find it interesting. And there's 3 rules in everything. And you'll laugh when you hear them. First one is treat people like you want to be treated. Of course we do. But then we've all seen somebody shout at a hotel receptionist because they've screwed up. Nobody wants to be spoken to like that. They need to get over themselves. Second one is help people, but don't get broke in the process. Don't always do charity work. You've had a good week. You've done a load of podcasts. You can do a bit of free stuff for somebody or whatever. Help them out. A bit of mentoring. Third one is my top tip for sales, which is tell the truth. Because if you tell lies, you get found out. You never get repeat business. You're forecourt selling. If you have those principles, what you call your wealth will go up. Not your money. Your money's however you've done. It's in your spreadsheet, whatever. You've got more this week than the last week. Wealth, as a lot of people say, is what you'd have left if suddenly all your money vanished. So let's say somebody steals it or you're stupid, you lose it. I like to think that people say, oh, poor Mike, he's a bit of an idiot. But tell you what, he's good at sales. It serves him
He knows
right.
some cool people. So,
he knows some cool people.
He'll be all
Mike,
right.
we'll get you back on your feet by giving you things you can do and da-da-da-da-da. But again, all my network, let's say it turned out I did do a bad thing or I did do a bad thing. Suddenly, my network would vanish immediately.
Yeah.
The phone calls would not be returned. It's, if it turned out that, well, I wouldn't even give you an example because it might happen. No, I've tried to be good all my life. I haven't really. I'm a showman like you guys. So a lot of my stuff is face-to-face, live, at shows, conferences. I've been a performer all my life. It's the smell of the grease paint and the roar of the crowd. And also it's very important in the first 5 minutes when you're performing, whether it's just a small group or a large group, to keep their attention. The best story I ever heard about that, well, because I've played in bands all my life, and the first number's vital. If you get the first number wrong, they'll all leave. There's a guy who's still around now called Pete Best, who was in the Beatles for 2 years. He was in Hamburg. And there's 5 of them. And they're told to make a show, keep people drinking, play rock and roll, Mac show. And Pete told me that if it at 2 o'clock in the morning in this strip club. They see a bunch of sailors going, oh, it's getting on a bit. Shall we think about leaving? Wherever they were in the song, they switched to a song by Ray Charles called What Did I Say? It's got a great bit. It goes, dan, 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 dan. And they went, oh, I love this one. More beers. So you've got to capture their attention quickly and explain why you're there. And if they want to leave, they can. But if it's yeah, maybe I'll give it another 5 minutes, then it's pure stagecraft. What do you say when to keep them interested? And it's a combination of here's a funny story and also here's a top tip. If you're selling, you've heard a lot of it, you need your elevator pitch. Let me just explain the elevator pitch. Then you've got to leave them with an outcome, which is anyway, it's been lovely talking to you. I'm not going to overrun. You never do in my world, because that's bad news. It's like, well, maybe you want to try this. Not as gross as buy my product, or do more mentoring is one I would say. You pass it down, and you've been mentored by some great people. All the famous entrepreneurs said, I had some fantastic mentors. And if you pass that down to the next generation, you will live respected and die regretted, as some people say, which is our dream, really. You want people to say, oh, what a shame Mike's gone, but he was a laugh. Not brilliant all the time, but there we go.
Hey, if you enjoy that clip, you're going to love the full episode of Winning Friends. Check it out in the link below.